Well, it's 9 p.m. East African time. Good evening. I am Mboya, and welcome to Prime Edition on this second day of April 2024, the day that the world is marking World Autism Day. Tonight, we are shining a spotlight on a young girl, Ray Zawadi. We would like to see how she's striving and thriving on this day. All that coming up, including other stories. But first things first, our top stories.
Wafahamu ya kwamba mahali wamefika sasa lugha nyingine.
Insecurity in the North Rift. Top cop Japhet Kome vows unparalleled security operation in Kerio Valley.
Problem squarely goes to the government. And the head of the government we know is the head of the head of state we know is the president. So it's upon him to actually solve this particular impasse that continue existing.
20 days and counting. Striking doctors now plead with President Ruto to intervene, saying talks at the ministerial level have collapsed.
Upon completion of the grassroots elections in all the counties, the UDA will conduct the ensuing county and national elections of the party by December 2024.
United Democratic Alliance opts for phased-out party grassroots elections beginning end of this April. Daniel Wahome is coming a little later on to look at the day's sports. Betty Kiptum will take control of the business segment. Anu Wangeshi is in charge of our sign language docket. Our socials at KBC Channel 1. Straight to our top story. The Inspector General of Police, Japhet Kome, has vowed unparalleled security operation in the bandit-prone Kerio Valley. Kome, who toured Baringo County Monday morning, said additional security officers and operation equipment will be deployed to the troubled region to deal with the bandits who have made the place a playing field. Abdi Aziz Hashim opens our coverage with that security report.
Days after President William Ruto held a meeting with top security officials in Kilgoris to discuss the escalating security challenges in the North Rift. The Inspector General of Police, Japhet Kome, accompanied by other senior officers from Nairobi, undertook a tour of the restive Baringo County to review the ongoing security operations in the area. The police boss warning that the time for patience was over and that never again will Kenyans in the part of the country have sleepless night for fear of their security.
Wafahamu ya kwamba mahali wamefika sasa lugha nyingine. Juzi tu wamejaribu pale Turkana, watatu walifariki. Jana kuna wengine wa vijana walifariki. Njia ni hiyo. Hatutakubali wachache wanaanza kuumiza wananchi.
Meanwhile, delegates and stakeholders of the security sector convened for the inaugural National Border Management Conference in Nairobi. The border management program aims to further strengthen the country's national security. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki and his Principal Secretary Raymond Omolo said the rollout of this revised program signifies a vital step towards ensuring the security and efficiency of Kenya's ports of entry and exit.
For us to create border control efficiency, the need for coordination is important. First, the coordination within the national agencies that are involved.
Abdi Aziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
On to the doctors' strike now. The striking doctors are tonight sending a plea to President William Ruto to personally intervene and end the industrial action which has entered day 2 Tuesday. The doctors claim that government delegation that has been leading the talks has no goodwill at all to reach a consensus. In the meantime, medical laboratory officers become the latest to down their tools, citing neglect by their employer. Joseph Wakungu puts that story into perspective.
Wanjiku, who hails from Igagania village in Gatundu North constituency, is a worried, expectant mother. With the doctor's strike now in its third week, Jacinta fears for her safety and that of her unborn baby.
Hii serikali yetu ikuwe imegomoka nisishide sita sana.
In Nairobi, Doctors Union KMPDU accused the Ministry of Health for caring less on the plight of patients, vowing not to back down.
We are going to continue and join the government the way we joined it. You have seen we've had a lot of negotiations in which the government comes with no plan.
KMPDU Secretary General Davji Taylor now calling on the president to step in, claiming nothing much was coming out of the talks being spearheaded by the Ministry of Health.
If any persons die in the hospitals, or if they fail to get the health care, the problem squarely goes to the government. And the head of the government we know is the head of the head of state we know is the president. So it's upon him to actually solve this particular impasse that continue existing.
The crisis got worse Tuesday after medical laboratory officers joined the strike. The officers claim authorities have refused to recognize their union, which was formed 7 years ago.
At the end of this week, it will be very painful to the citizens out there that we are going to withdraw our critical services from all the national blood banks.
We are telling the government that a recognition agreement do not require a single coin. The only thing that is required is 10 minutes time, a pen.
Well, now give us on Maina puts in perspective the UDA elections after the United Democratic Alliance resolved to conduct grassroots elections in 4 phases this year. This is a meeting of top officials chaired by President and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. Now, the first phase is slated for the 26th of this month, and that will cover 7 counties, including Nairobi, while phase 2 will cover, among others, Mombasa. Uasin Gishu is on the 22nd of June, beg your pardon. Both phases, 3 and 4, will be held on the 10th all the way to the 24th of August. Kenya Revenue Authority Chairperson Anthony Mboya will chair the party's National Elections Board that will oversee the exercise.
President William Ruto on Tuesday chaired a meeting of the National Steering Committee of the ruling United Democratic Alliance to deliberate on the party grassroots elections. The meeting, attended by Deputy Party Leader and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, top parties officials, and both majority leaders in the National Assembly and the Senate, resolved to hold the grassroots election in 4 phases, starting 26th of this month.
Kamati ya National Elections Board, vile mwenyekiti amesema, imetungwa na hiyo ndio itaendesha uchaguzi sasa.
The party has settled on KRA chairperson Anthony Mwaura to lead a 7-member National Elections Board, Joy Mdivo to chair its 9-member Electoral Disputes Resolution Committee, and Rebecca Tonkei as the chairperson of Internal Dispute Resolution Committee of 7 members. Phase 1 of the elections, slated for 26th April, will be conducted in 7 counties that include Nairobi, Narok and West Pokot, among others. Phase 2 of the elections, set for 22nd of June, will include 13 counties comprising of Mombasa, Uasin Gishu, Nyandarua and Machakos, among others. Phase 3 of the exercise, slated for 10th August, will cover 15 counties, including Kiambu, Embu and Kericho, among others. The final Phase 4, set for 24th August, will cover, among others, Nyeri, Nakuru, Bomet and Kirinyaga counties.
Upon completion of the grassroots elections in all the counties, the UDA will conduct the ensuing county and national elections of the party by December 2024.
After postponing the grassroots elections last year, President William Ruto has vowed that the ruling party elections must be held and concluded by December this year. Giverson Maina, Prime Edition, Nairobi.
Now, meanwhile, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is maintaining that government will intensify the war on illicit alcohol and drugs despite resistance from a section of dealers, and is assuring security apparatus of the government's backing. Gachagua made the remarks while visiting Juja Police Station Commander John Misoi at the Avenue Hospital in Thika, Kiambu County, where he is recuperating after Chang'aa breweries shot at him, believe it or not, using arrows during a raid over the Easter Sunday. Regina Manyara reports.
The government has for the last week sustained its onslaught on manufacturers, sellers and facilitators of toxic illicit brew, including security and national government administration officers across the country.
I want to ask our courts to know that the judges and magistrates are also parents, and their children are not immune to drug abuse and alcohol abuse. I want to request them to be fair to the people of Kenya and allow us to carry on with this exercise.
However, the war is not devoid of collateral damage, the latest being the attack on Juja Police Station Commander John Misoi by Chang'ar Brewers on Easter Sunday.
I want to say the war is 70% won, but there is still 30%. And County Commander, I want you to look at Goigwa. There is still a lot of alcohol in Goigwa. There is still a lot of alcohol in Makongeni.
While visiting Misoi at Avenue Hospital in Thika, Kiambu County, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua reiterated the government's stand on the consumption of illicit alcohol and drug abuse, encouraging officers undertaking the raids.
From July 1, their terms of service will be reviewed by 40% progressively in 3 years. Again, we are looking at insurance for our police officers who get injured in the line of duty.
Regina Manyar reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, the government, through the National Counter-Terrorism Center, has launched an online information portal to create awareness and tackle extremism in the country. Speaking at Garissa University to commemorate the terror attack at the university in 2015, the director of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Dr. Rosalind Nyawira, said that the aim of the initiative is to discredit violent extremism ideologies and facilitate public dialogue on the threats posed by terror elements.
On Tuesday morning, the government, through the National Counter-Terrorism Center, led top security teams, religious leaders, students and parents of Garissa University to commemorate the 2015 terror attack that claimed 147 lives.
The only way we can defeat the terrorist agenda is to stand together as Kenyans, because this is a common enemy that does not know religion but misuses religion. So what we want to say here as Kenyans, never again shall we allow what happened in Garissa University to happen.
The government using the occasion to launch an online portal that will be an avenue to sensitize Kenyans on extremism.
Even our being here is testament to those efforts, and it is up to us to support them as much as we can to ensure that we maintain that security and the communities live peacefully together.
The Director, National Counter-Terrorism Center, Dr. Rosalind Nyawira, said the portal will also enhance efficiency and coordination in implementation of anti-terrorism initiatives by building a strong and integrated network of stakeholders. The Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Ahmed Osman Warfa, hailed the steps taken by the government to ensure safety of learners at the institution following the unfortunate incident 9 years ago.
Well, it has been a great achievement by the Kenyan government, and we are very grateful to His Excellency the President, the current President, who came here and said the Senate should meet in Mboya University and open the university. That's why we are where we are today, because of him.
Now, whereas autism can severely impair one's ability to communicate and interact, such a person can, however, live an absolutely normal life. What he or she requires is the right support and resources to facilitate early intervention, education, and community support. And it is for this reason that the theme for this year's World Autism Day that was marked today is moving from striving to thriving.
Are you a princess? Felista Modhoni Philip fondly plays with her 5-year-old Ray Zawadi, who has an autism spectrum disorder, a condition that inhibits her communication and interaction.
Let me tell you, it has not been easy. So I gave birth, and when my daughter was 1.5, almost 2, I started to notice the things that I'd been studying about autism. She couldn't respond to her name. She would flap her hands if she's excited or not, fidgeting. Okay, she doesn't rock, but her communication was totally different. For example, she didn't call me mom, she used to tap me like this.
But with limited resources, her determination to get her child the overall best has not been easy.
It is so expensive. It is extremely expensive. Like my daughter right now, she's 5 years, but she's not going to school. She'll start going to school again next term. The reason why she has not been going to school is because sina hiyo pesa to go for all those treatments. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go.
Zawadi, however, has a strong liking for cars and easily tells the names through the logos.
Which logo is this one?
Hyundai.
Which logo is this one?
Mazda.
Which logo is this one?
This is one of the abilities that informed the theme of this year's World Autism Day, being moving from striving to thriving. In line with this, the starting point for Kenya will be formulation of a policy on autism.
It is high time for Kenya and the entire world to have various policies that can support the learners with various disabilities so that they can be shielded from abuse. Remember, they are very vulnerable children. We need something that can protect them in terms of the training, in terms of their rights.
Enhanced awareness about autism is key in ensuring early intervention to enable a person with autism lives a normal and fruitful life.
Right now, if you switch on TV, billboards, they tell us about kitu kama TB. Ukiona uko na joto jingi mwilini, ni TB. Ukikohoa, ni TB. But when you have a child, you've never seen or experienced anything like that.
As the number of children with autism across the world continues to rise, this year's theme is around moving from striving to thriving, encouraging parents with children with autism to educate them and equip them with skills, fundamental skills, so that they can thrive in the world. Serafina Robi for KBC from the Kenya Institute of Special Education in Nairobi.
Good job. I understand that children with autism also have very highly focused levels of whatever topic they choose to be interested in. Now, moving on, the Kenya Meteorological Department weather outlook indicates a peak in long rains in April this year. This comes as the weatherman points out possible impacts such as flash floods, especially in the low-lying areas, lightning strikes, and an increased inflow into hydropower reservoir expected to boost hydropower generation in the country.
The onset of the long rains in April this year, as predicted by the Kenya Meteorological Department, portends potential risks such as soil erosion, waterlogging, and land degradation. Farmers are therefore advised to implement soil conservation measures and embrace sustainable land management practices in their agricultural strategies. The forecast also warns of possible isolated storms, flash floods and lightning strikes in notable areas like Kisii, Kisumu, Nandi, Kakamega, Narok and Bungoma, specifically the Mount Elgon areas. Further predictions indicate increased inflow into hydropower reservoirs that is expected to boost hydropower generation and contribute to grand power reachage for geothermal power production. There could also be higher instances of waterborne and vector-borne diseases due to water source contamination resulting from flooding and stagnant water, with relevant authorities urged to strengthen disease surveillance and early detection systems.
Benson Masubo, who purported to be a legal officer in the office of the First Lady, has been charged with impersonation. Waziri was arraigned before Chief Magistrate Bernard Ochoi, where he denied the 2 counts of impersonation. Elsewhere, a warrant of arrest has been issued against former Java Chief Executive Officer Derek Cornelius Van Houten, wanted for over 7.9 million shillings fraud. These and more stories in the news making headlines in the corridors of justice.
Waziri Chacha is not new to the corridors of justice. In 2018, he was charged by a Nairobi court for soliciting money from legislatures and cabinet secretaries by blackmailing them. Tuesday at the Milimani Law Court, and Chacha presented himself after several warrants of arrest were issued against him. According to the prosecution, the accused on 21st of March 2024 in Nairobi presented himself as legal advisor to the office of the First Lady of Kenya, Rachel Ruto. The prosecuting counsel, James Gashoka, opposed him being released on bond, saying he's a flight risk as he has no fixed abode and had evaded the court before the warrant of arrest was issued against him.
Where the accused person absconded
Milimani criminal case number 640.
Elsewhere, the High Court has ordered the body of the late Silas Kamuta Igweta that was being claimed by two families to be released for burial. The court gave the deceased second wife, Sarah Kadhambi, the right to inter his remains in Meru County.
It is a landmark decision. Probably it will move still to the Court of Appeal, but we are urging that this matter comes to an end.
A decision that has been appealed by the first wife. Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition.
A land row pitting locals in West Pokot County against Kerio Valley Development Authority is looming over 52,000 acres of land. Whereas residents accuse KVDA of land grabbing, the authority says that it's simply mapping the area of operation. This and more in our county news wrap.
A 52,000-acre chunk of land in West Pokot County is at the center of a dispute between Kerio Valley Development Authority and locals, with the latter having chased surveyors contracted by the authority to place beacons in Katilisha Village, Kapchok Ward, Pokot North Sub-County.
If it is above the boundaries of where the level of water that is in the Takwel Dam will get into when they become full, those beacons are there. Then what is this demarcation that is being undertaken around Konyao?
In Homa Bay, the government has been urged to formulate laws to provide interventions in addressing autism spectrum disorder.
We need to create awareness, and then after creating awareness, then identify where we can place them.
Still on health, patients living with sickle cell anemia are appealing for blood donation to save lives of thousands of patients living with the condition. Busia County is doing its bit, with the Chief Nurse Tito Kwena announcing that sickle cell clinics will be set up to serve patients in the county. In the neighboring Kakamega County, a group of youth have commenced enlightenment of widows on land ownership rights. During one such training in Husero, locals were urged to shun widow disinheritance.
Jambo mbaya sana kwa ujane ni ya kwamba hata unapobaki na kitu unakuta familia wanataka hata kunyang'anye kile kidogo libaki nacho, na mjane hana mtetezi.
In politics, leadership wrangles have rocked Amani National Congress Party Kakamega's branch over leadership changes.
Kwa vyama vingine baada ya uchaguzi tena ndio wanarudi, hatutaki kufanya biashara na chama cha ANC.
Finally, Public Service Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria has urged leaders from Central Kenya to shelve succession politics and unite to forge development.
Watu hawataka muungano ya kufanya watu wengine wakubwa. Wanataka muungano ya kuwaletea maji. Wanataka muungano wa kufanya kazi yao. Wanataka muungano walipwe bei mzuri ya majani chai. Viongozi, karibuni tuongee lugha moja.
For Prime Edition, I'm Gladys Mongai.
Shamba ni mbili, yako ni gani? Kwenye star 570 hash. Every 100 shillings unayotumia kwa Lucky Game inakupa 1 entry point ya kuingia kwenye drum ya draw, ambayo inakupa fursa ya kujishindia moja kati ya shamba hizi mbili. Mwisho wa April namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, na unapata title deed yako safi. Na mwisho wa Mei namtangaza mshindi wa shamba hili la 1.1 million Kenyan shillings, lori za mawe na mchanga. Ploti ndizo hizi. Dial star 570 hash. Title deed ndio hii. Vuka na shake.
Welcome to Sensei Institute. Mahali skills zangu ni pesa mkononi. At Sensei College, practical skills is the definition. Accredited by the government and founded on a Christian background, Sensei College offers all-rounded programs that are tailor-made to enhance your skills and give you the future you desire. We offer courses such as interior design, fashion and design, hairdressing and beauty, hospitality courses, trailer driving and defensive driving, building construction technology, CCTV, solar and electrical installation, photography and video production, electronic courses, vehicle electronics and mechanic courses, agricultural mechanics, ICT, and many more. To enroll in any of our campuses in Nairobi and Nakuru, all you need is your national ID card. Mapema do best. Take advantage of our monthly intake. Come to kusort na skills. Sensei College, my skills, my future.
Las Bandidas. Then we should finish what we have started. And what is it you two started? I heard that you were here, so I came by to see if I'd be lucky enough to find you.
Well, you should be very happy because you're twice as lucky, sweetheart. Because aside from her, I'm also here to surprise you.
You are becoming quite annoying, Oligario. I will not allow my plans to crumble all because of you.
Please tell your father to call me. I would like to talk to him, you see.
You had better watch out, woman. Because I'm like the one the priest prays to. I find out everything. Las Bandidas.
Welcome to the day's business. Let me handle this one for Betty Kiptum. Now, the construction of a 20 million passenger terminal at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport is set to commence later this year. The multi-billion shillings terminal is expected to triple the capacity of the airport, which stands at 12 million passengers. Kenya Airports Authority Chair Caleb Kositany also revealed plans to reconstruct the Terminal 1E, which handles international arrivals.
Over the years, the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport has faced traffic pressure due to growing passenger traffic and the high number of airlines flying into the facility. In 2018, the government cancelled a tender to construct the Greenfield Terminal, opting to expand the airport through a phased-out approach. The Greenfield Terminal, which was to be constructed in 5 years, was meant to increase JKIA's capacity by more than 20 million passengers annually.
We have plans to build a new terminal here, which will be a state-of-the-art that will accommodate this airport. You see, is a 1978 architecture designed for 2 million passengers.
The Kenya Airports Authority says the construction of a modern terminal will take 3 years and will be undertaken through a public-private partnership. And now JKIA has launched the Airport Mtaani luggage services. The platform offers last-mile luggage delivery services for passengers arriving at the airport.
So you just come, land, clear immigration, and go to your meeting, Mr. Charles. We will be left behind. We'll get your luggage, clear it through customs, clear it through KA, and take it to your home or to your hotel.
Travelers can bid farewell to the hustle and bustle of dragging heavy luggages when they land at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport.
KAA hopes that the service will help decongest the airport as it carries out its plans to start expansion of the airport in the next few months. Alanauko, Prime Edition.
Tourist experiences will be enhanced in Kwale County in a new initiative aimed at prolonging the stay of visitors there. Tourism Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua believes involving tourists in cultural experiences such as henna paintings would help Kwale increase tourist numbers throughout the whole year, as Irene Muchuma Odem now narrates.
Tourists are attracted to Kwale due to its sandy beaches, with visitors spending their time in hospitality facilities along the coastline. However, this mostly happens during Kenya's peak tourist seasons. This is what Tourism Cabinet Secretary Dr. Alfred Mutua is seeking to change by identifying and packaging new tourist sites and products to keep tourists visiting Kenya throughout the year.
We've seen a place whereby we can get an investor to come in and put up a convention facility, a big hotel that will benefit the county and the hustlers of this area.
In Kwale, plans are on to enhance tourist experiences through closer interactions with area residents and being involved in cultural activities.
We have to keep products if we're going to get new tourists, if we're going to get tourists to extend their stay.
Ukikuja Kwale unajua naenda mahali fulani naweza kwenda kuchorwa hina. Nikitaka product ya Kwale, nikitaka kishutu, naweza kuipata wapi?
Other tourist products to be repackaged and marketed include Map of Africa site along the Indian Ocean beach, Congo Mosque that has rich historical Islamic highlights, Madafu experience for tourists, and revival of the Bomas of Kwale to showcase cultural tourism. However, the challenge on a proper infrastructure is one of the concerns that needs to be addressed if speedy growth is to be achieved. Irene Mchuma, Udim, Channel 1 in the county of Kwale.
Now, broadcasters should ensure that their programs have at least 40% of local content, protect children from adult content, and do not promote gaming activities during the watershed period. The Communications Authority of Kenya says that broadcasters that fail to adhere risk revocation of their licenses.
Through a Gazette notice, the published 4th edition programming code set out new directives for all media outlets in the country in order to facilitate responsible use of the broadcasting platform. The code seeks to ensure that content that is unsuitable for children and minors is not broadcast during watershed period between 5 a.m. and 10 p.m. for both free-to-air and pay TV service providers. On election coverage, media outlets are required to offer consistent pricing for airtime purchased by parties and candidates. The Communication Authority of Kenya is reminding broadcasters to remain objective by not manifestly favoring or opposing any candidate or political party. Broadcasters are also required to ensure they do not air hateful content. The 4th edition programming code prohibits free-to-air broadcasters from airing programming, promoting gaming activities, gaming campaigns, or adverts during the watershed period. In addition, broadcasters are required to obtain relevant license from the Betting Control and Licensing Board, BCLB, to air any gaming promotional activities. The Communication Authority of Kenya warns that any media outlet that fails to comply risks their licenses being revoked. Weri Mujenga for Prime Edition.
Has waived the inspection and registration fees for shipping vessels of less than 24 meters. This is part of measures aimed at helping the government to update its registry of vessels operating within the country's maritime space. Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary Salim Mboya says that registration exercise will commence in a fortnight.
In the last 10 years, Kenya has evolved into a maritime giant in Africa, attracting major global shipping lines like Maersk and China COSCO shipping lines, among others. However, Kenya's shipping register has not expanded by the same rate, with the government losing billions in revenue. In 2019, the government ordered all shipping lines that ply Kenyan rivers, lakes, and the ocean to register with the Kenya Maritime Authority in a drive to boost the collection of fees and rid its maritime space of illegal activities. The government now says it will waive inspection and registration fees for all shipping vessels operating in Kenyan waters.
Vyombo vya baharini ambao viko mita 24 kwenda chini ili tufanye registration ili tuweze kuwa na urahisi wa kuvitambua hata wakati wanafanya kazi.
Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs Cabinet Secretary Salim Mboya also says to streamline operations of the Bandari Maritime Academy, the government has put a legal notice aimed at harmonizing costs of maritime courses.
Ile jopo ambalo niliteua wameshamaliza kazi yao ya kuangalia zile fees na tutawatangazia wiki ijayo ile rate mpya ya zile maritime courses.
Mvurya spoke during the 5th multidisciplinary conference at the Technical University of Mombasa. Juni Karisambele from Mombasa County.
Most businesses are optimistic of expansion this quarter, fueled by the input cost reduction that will drive up their revenue. This is according to the latest Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Business Barometer for the second quarter that indicates that financial constraints and supply chain instability are some of the factors that could slow growth of businesses in Kenya.
Latest Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry Business Barometer for April, May and June this year indicate that most businesses expect workforce and revenue to increase. 51% of those polled expect to hire more employees, while 61% expect their revenue to increase.
Majority of the responses are actually optimistic at 76% about expanding their businesses in Q2, which is very encouraging. Given that, we still noted some challenges that might affect the performance of businesses in Q2.
The survey that mainly sampled micro businesses employing up to 10 workers and make at most 1 million in revenue annually established that unpredictable transport and energy was supply chain instability. Business leaders and industry associations are calling for targeted interventions, including supportive policies, low-cost credit, and measures to enhance domestic production and supply chains.
We need to really work with the government closely to really regulate on the certified seeds, the quality of the seeds. You hear even today's paper, you saw small-scale farmers are really crying out because you can't know who is the eligible supplier.
In terms of primary input cost, the businesses were divided in their expectations. In addition, businesses in hospitality and tourism sector are most confident in revenue growth, while those in real estate and construction are at the opposite end of the spectrum.
The Ministry of Agriculture is seeking a 2-month duty-free sugar importation window extension to allow importation of the sweetener to bridge production deficit. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi says that there is a global shortage of sugar and importers did not meet the import quota allocation for last year.
The Agriculture and Food Authority authorized importation of sugar late last year to fill the then shortage after ordering millers to halt production on concerns of lack of mature cane. In a Gazette notice dated 9th August 2023, importers were allowed to ship in 290,000 metric tons, and another dated 13th October 2023 allowed importation of 250,000 metric tons. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mithika Linturi says only 135 and 54 tons of the approved sugar was shipped in due to a global shortage. Linturi now wants the National Treasury to extend the duty-free import window that is set to end on Saturday this week by 2 months to allow importers to source for the sweetener. In a letter to the National Treasury, Linturi says the annual local demand for table sugar averages 84,000 tons per month, and the current local production cannot meet the demand, which could see Kenya face a deficit of 162,000 tons. To cover the shortfall, Kenya aims to produce a total of 720,000 tons of table sugar between January and August 2024 to be met through local production and imports. Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
The cost of major goods and services eased to 5.7% in March, marking the first time inflation falling below 6% in 2 years. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics says that drop was driven by lower prices of foodstuffs due to improved rainfall and also the low cost of fuel, which has eased over the last 3 months.
Inflation has been stubborn in the last 2 years, breaching the 6% policy band set by the Central Bank of Kenya. The government has been employing aggressive tactics, lowering the cost of fuel and offering subsidized agricultural products like seeds and fertilizer to improve production. These efforts have been complemented by favorable weather. The latest inflation report by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics shows the cost of living eased to 5.7% from 6.3% in February. The report shows electricity and kerosene prices fell by 2.3%. The transport index also saw a 0.6% decline in February to March 2024, driven by cheaper petrol and diesel prices. The cost of the two commodities fell by 3.5% and 2.6% respectively. However, despite the drop in fuel prices, the cost of liquefied petroleum gas increased 1.4%. On food, carrot prices dropped by 2.8%. Maize grain prices fell by 4.9%, while sugar prices dropped by 5.3%. The highest price increase in the food basket was onions, whose price shot up from 150.63 shillings per kg in February to 167.28 shillings per kilo in March. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Well, that does it for the day's business. Daniel Wahome is back. He made it after the Vasha splasher.
Broadcasting Corporation is Kenya's most trusted news and entertainment brand. Grow your business, acquire more clients, and reach new, diverse audiences by advertising with us. We connect brands to audiences that matter, driving results for brands and enhancing your current marketing strategies. We have packages for all needs, and no product is too small for us. Contact us today and capitalize on our combined power of radio, TV, and digital platforms. KBC, connecting Kenyans.
Sports News is brought to you by Mozart Bait.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Football Kenya Federation, in conjunction with the Confederation of African Football, today commenced a 3-day club licensing workshop in Nairobi. The workshop will be conducted under the guidance of CAF instructor Emmanuel Dasoberi, CAF club officer Hamza Sururi, and CAF club expert Miguel Rivera.
The workshop will involve men and women Premier League clubs and National Super League clubs.
Football has now been set at a stage that we've all agreed that we should be professional in whatever we do. This is not so much different from the business that we operate in our daily affairs. And club licensing basically is about professionalism. It's about ensuring that clubs meet certain standards. Those standards we say are minimum standards.
Football Kenya Federation President Nick Mwendwa said the initiative was aimed at ensuring all clubs playing in various leagues meet the required standards.
Every player has a medical cover. I hear people talking about medical cover for players. This club license makes it mandatory for every club to produce and provide a medical cover for every player. So I can tell you, every club that has qualified has ensured that their players are covered in that aspect.
Women football, of course, we know play a key role in our development nowadays. And so throughout this workshop, we realize that we are going to be mentioning it. We are going to say that as best practice possible, men should adopt what? Women teams. If you do not have one, we are not saying that it's mandatory for you to own a female team. No, it's not mandatory. We've not gotten to that stage. We've gotten to a stage that we are encouraging the male teams to get into partnership with the female teams.
Confederation of African Football CAF representative Emmanuel Dasoberi said the initiative will help in instilling professionalism in the game.
The biggest challenge we've always encountered is finances. I mean, clubs complaining about finances and all that. But I've always made this point that if you do not position yourself well, you'll not be able to attract the needed finances to run your club and all that.
The workshop will be conducted under the guidance of CAF instructor Emmanuel Dasoberi, CAF club officer Hamza Sururi, and CAF club expert Miguel Rivera.
You cannot do this if you don't have the right investment. So as you've seen now with the KBC deal, our clubs are getting just about 10 million shillings in the Premier League. Of course, they go out and look for other investments and other monies to supplement that. But the 10 million we've worked on can help them form the base.
For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Well, Kenya Airways Chief Executive Officer Alan Kilavuka has called on more corporates to come on board and support upcoming rally drivers. Kilavuka said giving the necessary support to the young rally drivers will help the sport grow in Kenya. Kilavuka was quick to note that with proper structures, Kenyan drivers have the talent to compete at the highest level. Kenya Airways sponsored youngster Hamza Anwar's participation in this year's WRC Safari Rally that was held in Naivasha. World champion Kale Rovanpera won his second Safari title, while five-time Safari winner Carl Flash Tundo was the best-placed Kenyan at the event, 16th overall and 7th in the WRC2 class.
This event really lifts the name of Kenya high and it also promotes tourism. So we are part and parcel of that whole ecosystem of promoting tourism. We also support the youth, and part of this is we are promoting the FIA Star Rally Champions. These are the young talents who are currently racing even here and the race elsewhere. So that's part of our sponsorship, is also to help promote youth sports, including the upcoming Rally Champions.
Staying with motorsport is that Formula One World prepares for the Japanese Grand Prix this weekend, where triple world champion Max Verstappen will be aiming to make amends after failing to finish last time out. The Dutchman was forced to retire after an early issue with his brakes, which led him to losing his 9-race winning streak. The Ferraris seized the opportunity and finished first and second, and will hope to build on that result as Mercedes and Alpine also crossed their fingers for better performances this weekend.
What a comeback! A Ferrari 1-2, headed by Carlos Sainz.
It's race week in Japan for Formula One's 5th race of the season, where last round's winner Carlos Sainz will look to reenact his dominant performance from the Australian Grand Prix. 3-time world champion Max Verstappen will look for a redemption drive after losing his 9-race win streak due to a mechanical failure last time out, just 1 race away from equaling his 10-win record. Ferrari left Albert Park after their first 1-2 finish in 2 years and were comfortably quicker than the remaining Red Bull, piloted by Sergio Perez. Despite holding the momentum with reports of new upgrades for the Scuderia at Suzuka, Red Bull and Max Verstappen remain the firm favourites to win the Grand Prix. Mercedes customer teams McLaren and Aston Martin target to improve their pace relative to the leaders. Mercedes themselves, though, are going through a nightmare of a time after a double DNF in Australia while seemingly not understanding why their car is underperforming.
Oh, big crash! George Russell with a massive accident at the end of the Grand Prix at turn number 6.
Daniel Ricciardo will also desperately hope for a change in his fortunes as he continues to get outperformed by his teammate Yuki Tsunoda. The Alpines, Kick Saubers and Williams will also have a point to prove this weekend.
And the Japanese Grand Prix is go! Good reaction time, Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen knew he was going to get a good time. He squeezed at him. Round the outside goes Lando Norris. Big crash, big contact in the middle, side by side they go.
For Prime Edition, I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
Is down to 3rd. Up to 2nd place goes Lando Norris, who
And Jeremy Sarmiento's 97th minute winner completed a sensational comeback for Ipswich Town over Southampton to return to the top of the English Football League Championship. In other matches, Leicester City strengthened their promotion bid after beating playoff chasing Norwich 3-1, while Leeds defeated Hull City by 3-1.
Here is the left back now, still inside the penalty area. Left-footed effort. Oh, what a strike from Leif Davis! Armstrong looks to respond immediately for Southampton. Cut back to Rebo, and Adams, is he offside? Well, the flag has stayed down on that far side. Davis back to Taylor. Broadhead with the effort! Broadhead! And he find the final ball. It's cut back for Sarmiento. Sarmiento! He's magic! You know! Jeremy Sarmiento! Into the bottom corner!
Getting to the byline, shoots scoreds. Also saves. Byron follows it in. Morton into the middle and into the back of the net. Somerville strikes the ball into the back of the net. Right hand side, he can shoot. He shoots scoreds. It's going. Yes! From Dan James.
The ground from where this corner is taking place. Away to our right. Nunez towards the near post, and it's worked. Norwich have scored. And here's Ndidi crossing high from the right-hand side. Mavadidi round the back, heads it into the danger area, and there's the equaliser. shoot. Lays it off instead from Abadidi, who skips past Stacey and rolls it into the net. That's been coming. Edge of the box, shot blocked. Winks is going to get another chance here. If he can keep his feet, he can. Comes across the Vardy, and that wraps it up. Jamie Vardy, an expert finisher.
And we move on stateside, where Devin Booker scored 52 points to inspire the Phoenix Suns to a 124-111 victory over the New Orleans Pelicans in the NBA. The victory took them closer to claiming an automatic qualification for the postseason playoffs in the Western Conference. The Suns' win meant that the third-placed Minnesota Timberwolves secured their playoff spot, set to start on the 20th of April.
For the rebound, the back tap to Booker. Book able to get to that free throw line, extended jumper, and
Devin Booker's 52-point game led the Phoenix Suns to a 124-111 win over the New Orleans Pelicans to boost their chances of qualifying for the NBA playoffs. All 5 Phoenix starters finished with a double-figure score and are now just 1 game behind 6th-place New Orleans, who hold the final automatic playoff spot in the Western Conference. As it stands, Phoenix will enter the play-in tournament, which determines the 4 remaining places in the postseason, with 2 teams progressing from each conference.
Recognize KD coming off the weak side.
KD says, I'll give you another one.
In the Eastern Conference, Jason Tatum and Sam Hauser secured 25 points as the Boston Celtics, who had already secured the top spot in the Eastern Conference, beat the Charlotte Hornets 118-104. The Orlando Magic registered a narrow 104-103 victory over the Portland Trail Blazers to keep their 5th-place spot in the conference. For Prime Edition, I'm Emmanuel Ndumu.
Well, he's been shooting the 3-ball extremely well. Book with a pull-up 3.
And that's the sport for tonight. Remember that we'll be having lots to speak about, including communication about the school games that will be taking place in Machakos County from next week. My name is Daniel Wahome. Back to you, Mboya.
Sports News was brought to you by Mozart Bet.
You can lift the plane. The higher you fly, the higher your win. The sky is the limit. Mozart Bet.
Thank you, Dan. You did well on that freeze shot. Well, I want to thank the entire Prime Edition team, including Ann Wangeshi, our sign language interpreter. Before we leave you, of course, with Military Tales, we are featuring Colonel Retired John Robia, who served the Kenya Army Wing of the Defense Forces for 28 years. My name is Mboya. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, and God bless.
For this week's edition of Military Tales, we are in Lanet, Nakuru County. Here we visit one Kenya Army veteran, Colonel Retired John Rioba, who served as an army man for 28 years and retired as a commandant in one of the military schools in the country. Colonel John Rioba was born and bred in Kisii County, where he also undertook his early education.
I was born in Kisii, Nyamira County. Sometimes back in 1958. I grew up in Kisii. I was educated in Kisii in Tana Primary School. After that, I went to Cardinal Tunga High School, Mosocho, where I learned from 1975 to 1979. I did my EAC, and I joined the army thereafter.
He joined the Kenya Army in 1980 as a cadet with a solid sports background. With time, Colonel Rioba would rise to the position of commander of the 5KA or the 5th Battalion in Gilgil.
And others. Then I was selected to join a cadet in 1980 here at Armed Forces Training College, where I graduated in 1980, that's October, then joined 50 ACP. 50 ACP is 50 Air Cavalry Battalion. Air Cavalry Battalion, 50 Battalion, the Kenya Rifles, where we were with SK Njoroge, who was my commander, from the rank of second lieutenant to major.
I did stuff. I went to training. I was a trainer. Also, I did a lot of training in sports. Came back again to 5K, that is 5th Battalion, the Kenya Rifles. We usually calling the Fighting Five. Then I joined 50, that is 50 now, Kenya Battalion as the commanding officer. I stayed there for about 2 years. Then I was again transferred to Kabete, where I was given the appointment of a commandant.
Having been part of peacekeeping missions in Angola and Sierra Leone, he knows the real value of peace.
War is not a good thing. If you could go to Angola and see how the Portuguese managed to put up Angola, colonized Angola, and put up structures, but all were destroyed. And who were suffering is the locals. And especially women and the children suffer a lot. So you go to them to convince them that you must have peace. Some are wild, some have taken a lot of illicit proofs.
In the country, he was tasked with leading his men in fortification of the Kenya borders.
Border patrols. It's not easy also. It is in Kenya, but it's not easy also because it's just fighting. You never know when you go out, you will come back.
His sports background, especially in athletics and soccer, catapulted him to a military coach and was also at one point the chairman of the military soccer team Ulinzi Stars.
Actually, I was a champion in 800 meters, running with Kinabili Conchela. I was a coach in most of the sports. I've been in the chairman of Ulinzi Stars and took them to Tanzania or East African Games in Tanzania. So I did a lot in sports.
In retirement, Kano Rioba decided to join his wife in farming and cattle rearing, where he would later capitalize in farming traditional vegetables or organic farming.
People feel that it is a low class. It is vegetable selling is for women and low class people. But I did it with my vehicle. I would come to the shamba, get the vegetable, openly tie them, go to the roadside and sell. I could sell very well and I enjoy it. It was shaky at first. I feared, I'm a Kano, I can't do this. How can I sell vegetable? How can I do this?
Kano Rioba would later realize that farming was a far more rewarding venture than even his former job, despite selling his vegetables by the roadside.
I planted vegetable, I sold vegetable actually along the roadside, and I enjoyed having that. Comparatively, when I was leaving, I didn't have as much money as when I came to organic farming.
Retired commander has a message for his colleagues who are retiring on how to prepare and make the switch to retirement.
Where you are, you drop down. Don't stay where you are. If you stay where you are, you will expect everybody to salute you. You come down. You come to the heart where you say, what can we do?
A family man and a father of 3 notes that his motto in life, which he has instilled in his kids and his former colleagues, is hard work.
I have 3 boys. The firstborn is an engineer, registered engineer. His work is in America now. The secondborn is a pharmacist. The third one is a lawyer, advocate of High Court. All are married with their children, so I have 6 grandchildren. My motto up to now, I usually tell even my children and my grandchildren they have to work hard. There is nothing for free.
Rioba's message for Kenyans:
peace is the most important thing in this. Let the political divide do their things, but let them give us peace. Peace to enjoy and to look, because the politician cannot bring food into your table.
In his leisure time, Kano enjoys time in the church, is also a motivational speaker and a life coach. Before we left, we took a tour of his farm, which keeps him and his wife busy. his message to serving officers, he quotes a lesson he picked from one of his former commanders, General Daudi Tonje.
General Tonje brought something very good in the military. He brought the medical, he brought the Bill 5, which has helped a lot of officers and men to go out.
For Military Tales, I'm Ben Troy Njue.